Hi, this is High Templar with my new episode of Enderal Let's Play. We are playing Enderal Iron Path difficulty, Enderal being Skyrim total conversion mod. And so far in our story, we started with horrible nightmare when we learned that my family, the family of the main character, is dead. And in pretty horrible way at that. And the main character is still blaming herself for this. And then we woke up on a ship traveling to the continent of Enderal. We were caught there by a mysterious figure who spoken about probabilities and beatings of the wings, which makes me think a prophecy of a sort. And then we were caught on the ship and we almost died. We got into a strange realm, really, which we're able to get out using meditation. I can get in and out using meditation. And then we woke up on this beach. We are in Enderal, I assume. We are very close. And there was this abandoned temple that you can see in the background right now. We got through this temple, there were some enemies, some we killed with traps, some we avoided. We killed few wolves, nothing major. We got this arcane fever from staying too close to those two strange crystals. Still learning about this. Level 2, but there is a lot of... I have 3 memory points, I have 5 learning points. I guess you receive learning points which each level up you need to use learning books which rise your combat related skills and which you buy from merchants. How about crafting ones? Okay, workmanships guys. So I need books to level up things. I already found one here. Also got this fever, and now I just spotted I have ambrosia, which decreased my arcane fever by 20%. It's good because if I lose that, I'm dead. I mean 100% arcane fever, you're dead. Book of Light. This is exactly what I needed. I have a heavier armor. Not sure if I should use it. Maybe I will use it right now and change it to something, you know, less clunky later. Okay, let's drop that. Pretty pointless. We have some pumpkins, we can regenerate health outside of combat without gaining arcane fever, because arcane fever you gain from healing spells basically. I have a spell tome, I haven't seen that. Okay, either way, we gathered some stuff, pretty much everything on our path. We got out of this temple, and now we need to get out of this ravine. I do understand that I need to get there. There is a large wooden structure just right there. But first I want to check out this bank. Alrighty. There is something there. Can't really see it. Okay, I'm being spotted by some kind of animal. Oh shoot. Exactly. Ash. Okay. I got well, I will get back on him. I know where he is right now. Not sure if that will help me a lot, but let's try that. Let's try to lure him. I want to sneak attack him. Not sure if I will be able to. So 2 arrows will get me killed. Can't see him. Where is he? Where is he? I feel like I need to get to the other side to spot him. So let's try that. Although the other side might be quite full of other enemies. Maybe we want loot wards. No more quartz on the island. Didn't intended on taking that basket. Pretty sure there is not something of interest there. But still can't spot the guy. Here I go. I can spot him now. Why wasn't I able to do that before? And he's gone. That's a bad manners, killing me like that. "15 arrows, excellent. There should be at least some of my arrows here. But it will be very hard to recover them. Alchemy, lockpicking, flute. Doesn't seem to be any entrance in here. So let's go back there. Maybe also see the books that I've got. Lockpicking. We actually have quite a few points still. Maybe I will just use both of them. I need to get back to this I need to get better at fighting, basically. I used to be quite good at it. Now I can see that I'm dying very quickly. I cannot avoid shots like I used to. Interesting. There is a camp of sort here. Alright. You don't want to kill me.
Now would you look at that? I knew I'd seen someone scrambling in the mountains. What brings you here, my dame? Who am I? Findelires, apothecarius by my path. Pleased to meet you. And you are at Suncoast, in the south of Enderal. Where are you from? But wait, don't tell me. I know that accent. Nerim, isn't it?
There we go. Everything's locked up. At least for the night we should. Wait a second. Who's that?
Just an adventurer on her way. No reason to worry.
No reason to worry? For heck's sake, Finn! How do you know that this girl isn't with the bandits? You said you'd call me if anyone showed up. And now you're standing here, having a chat with her as if we were in the bathing house of Ark.
Lo and behold, we are still alive. Now, is there anything else, Carbos?
I've got my eye on you. Touch any of our stuff, and you'll regret it.
I believe you.
May I present Carbos, as he lives and breathes. Sorry about that just now. That's just how he is. In any case, if you don't need any more help, I'd suggest you move on. Follow the way east behind the dam house. It'll lead you to a village called Riverville. Ah, here, take this. Truth be told, you don't look so healthy. Your eyes... well, whatever. There's something peculiar about you. I don't know how else to say it. I would examine you myself, but we don't have the right equipment with us. So if I were you, I'd ask a priest in Riverville to have a look at you. Who knows? Maybe you caught something in that temple.
I probably caught it outside the temple before, when I almost died, but yeah, something. What's your story? Why are you here?
Us? Oh, nothing spectacular, I'm afraid. We gather herbs, but tomorrow we're going back north, to League. You should stop by one day if you're in the area. Someone who scours Pyrian ruins and survives could surely be useful to the apothecary and help us find some things.
Can I trade some goods with you?
Yeah, why not? Show me what you've got. Maybe I have some things you can use.
I hope so. You have ambrosia, which costs like 200 gold. Are you freaking kidding me? You have life absorption, I already have that. Not really, no, you don't have anything, but maybe I can sell you stuff. Like a basket. Blue quartz, this is very expensive. I like that. I can sell you that for sure. Let's actually... yeah. Troll fat. That will fetch me a nice price, but 6, is it worth it? Well, yeah, my carry weight is not so great, so I don't know. Let's just leave it for now. We will be doing some alchemy after all. I can sell you I feel like I should sell this stuff and wear a robe and this. So this will be 11 less armor. But this value is almost nothing. But still, I do like light armor more than I like heavy. I don't have a need for so many bows, or knives for that matter. Still have some gold. Should I sell him the blue quartz? Maybe it will be useful later on. But my carry weight has decreased pretty nicely. Yeah, that also caught my ear. You said you were apothecarius by my path. What do you mean by my path?
By the Black Guardian. You really are an outlander, aren't you? My path is... well, it's just me path. My role designated to me by Malthus. A kind of calling, if you will.
Nice.
Not exactly. Malthus designates our place in society. Generally the same one our fathers and forefathers occupied. I walk the path of the erudites, and there's also the manufacturers, the sublimes, and, of course, the pathless. Within these roles, we are free to choose a profession, but certain vocations that are available to an erudite are not permitted to a manufacturer, which is one path below. However, below does not mean that it is in any way inferior. Everyone on Enderal does what they do best, and who would know better than the gods what exactly that is?
That's interesting.
In the folly of my youth, I might have thought about it, yes. But then I realized that half of what goes wrong in this world has to do with the desire to advance. I am interested in living the righteous path and to contribute to the preservation of my people. That's enough for me, and only the faithful will be granted the eternal paths upon death.
Okay. And who are these pathless?
Men or women who have never received the path consecration, or those who have broken their path. Brigands, glimmer dust smugglers, murderers, well, you know.
In Netherring, there are rumors that the gods are dead.
Men or women who have never received the path consecration. And over here, there's a rumor that the Golden Queen has a weakness for men in gowns. Seriously, be careful with that kind of gossip. I know you don't mean any harm, but there are a few who might consider it heresy.
Yep.
Maybe. But if I look at other countries, even within the civilized world, it's hard to find a people as peaceful as ours.
Okay. That might be something in there. I was running from the war. Can you tell me more about this region?
Well, what can I tell you? This is the Sun Coast, in the south of Enderal. A pretty peaceful area, except for all the animals and bandits that have recently started going crazy. And, well, that's pretty much it. I think you should ask the people in Riverville if you want to know more. They certainly have some stories to tell.
Interesting. I will do that. I see. And there are places that might be of interest to an adventurer.
To an adventurer? If you ask me, what you need before you adventure anywhere is some good old-fashioned shut-eye. But yes, there are some places. The Three River Watch, for example, right there below the stone arch. It was once an old trading post, but now it's full of shady characters. Ah, and there's also a big Pyrian ruin south of it.
Yeah, that's it.
Don't mention it. I wish you a quick recovery and safe roads. Walk blessed. Carbos, do we need the still tomorrow? Or can I clean all the tools?
Blazes, Finn, I'm playing. Don't bother me.
I guess that means no.
Don't get on my nerves.
What is happening to me?
By the righteous path? What happened to you? You look as if you've met the Black Guardian himself.
Yes, I suddenly have a kind of fever. Do you have any idea what it could be?
Fever? Well, there could be many causes. Wait a moment. I think I still have some grunt root. That should be enough to ease your pain, at least for now. Take a seat at the fire. The warmth might help you.
Oh, so now we're brewing potions for complete strangers.
Well, if the strangers are about to die of fever, then yes. There was that oath we swore once, remember? To help the afflicted, to...
Whatever.
Thank you. Grunt roots, grunt roots. Ah, here we go.
I need to do some alchemy myself.
So, let's see. Sheer cap, some water. Ha! Done. I can't make any promises, but...
Finn, the still.
Explosions.
They've hit me.
Do something, damn it! Do something! Oh, no! Oh, sod it!
Do I really have to watch every step you take? That was a fucking close call.
Hey, I'm sorry, alright. We'll pick up a new one in Ark.
What the hell was that?
And you're paying for it. Here I thought this bloody day couldn't get any worse.
This day isn't getting any better. Here, drink this. It'll help you.
Probabilities. What I saw was probability. Something that might have happened.
See? You already look a lot better. Still, you should let a priest take a look at that fever as soon as possible. The grunt root potion will wane in a few days. What? You mean the still? Bad quality, and too much heat, I'd wager. But, whatever will be, will be.
But the explosion, the voices, they were yours.
Explosion? I'm not sure I follow.
Oh, that'd be great, wouldn't it? Finn Dalleries. Died in 8234. Cause of death, exploding still.
Ha ha. Look, I really don't know what you're talking about. Maybe...
Wait a second. What was that? I could have sworn I saw something moving over there.
Come on, I want to get up.
Oh shit!
What the? Carbos!
They've hit me, Finn. Those bastards. They've hit me.
Come on, move.
Carbos, do something, damn it! Do...
Now would you look at that? Our mysterious survivor has awoken.
Jasper Dalverek. What? Where am I? Who are you?
Jaspar Matumiel Delveric. Jaspar for short. And you, my friend, are in my very own campsite. And before you ask, yes, the bandits killed both of the apothecary. The only reason you're still alive is that the impact of the explosion threw you right into a thicket. Luckily enough, most of your injuries are only superficial, and I've already taken care of them. Your fever, though, is an entirely different story. Suffice it to say, I was on the perimeter. And no, I didn't help for two reasons. One, I was outnumbered like crazy. And two, I'm in a happy relationship with my entrails. I wish I had a more heroic answer for you, but I don't. Sorry.
My fever, do you know anything about it?
Yep, quite a lot, actually. You're suffering from first-degree Arcanist's fever. I'm quite surprised that the old apothecarius didn't see that, to be honest. You're suddenly capable of doing things you previously knew only from the bard songs, right? And you're feeling unusually strong and dizzy at the same time? While drinking herbal potions leaves a, well, kind of a bitter feeling in your head?
It does, yes. Then this Arcanist fever is responsible for these things I can suddenly do, the magic.
Yep. Your magical talent has broken free inside you. I don't have any myself, but I've worked together with enough Arcanists to know the signs. Simply put, what's happening is that your body can't cope with the magic. This isn't much of a problem at first, but if you don't do anything about it within the next couple of months, you'll find yourself running through the heartland naked, throwing fireballs at everything that moves. You'll lose your mind, to speak plain and all.
But the fever can be treated, right?
Yes, of course. Though someone who's magically gifted will always react differently to certain situations than someone who isn't. As I said, some herbs will always worsen your fever, as will magically contaminated areas.
And what about these visions? No, sir. So the fever gets worse when... what? Drink potions?
Among other things, yes. Just as being magically gifted can make a person powerful, it can also make them sensitive and prone to certain conditions. Just don't overdo it sleeping in ruins or in the wilderness. Instead, set up a camp somewhere. Plus, as you've already said yourself, don't overdo it with potions.
Okay, I get it.
What? No, that won't help you in the long run. What you need is ambrosia, a special mixture of herbs that can remedy the fever without any side effects. Every good alchemist has that in stock, but it'll cost you.
And what about these
Visions?
visions? Well, that's what I call them. I have these kind of premonitions of things which are about to happen. Are they also the side effect of the fever?
No. Well, none that I know of. The only visions I ever had were those that come along with a good pipe of peaceweed. You know what? Someone has to take care of your fever. And as it happens, I know someone who could. But in return, I want you to tell me everything. How did you get here? And what did you do in that temple? And what exactly did you see in those visions? I can't put my finger on it, but there's something strange about you. And that makes me curious. So, healing for information. What do you say?
Yep. Healing for information agreed. Tell Jasper about what
Then
happened.
shoot. I'm eager to listen. I understand. My condolences for your loss. So that means you somehow survived this execution. And before you got washed ashore, you had this, what, this dream? In which you saw burnt bodies and a blinding light.
Yes, but it wasn't just a dream, it was more like a memory. The temple I saw in, it was exactly the same as the one in the valley. Do you know what that means?
I hope so. So your magical outburst didn't happen slowly as it usually does, but all of a sudden after this near-death experience. And with it came these visions.
Correct?
Interesting. I guess you know how absurd all this must sound, but somehow I believe you. Heck knows why, but I do. So, that means I'll introduce you to my employer. If anyone can help you, it's him. There is, however, one thing with which I could use a hand. The sooner we get that done, the sooner we can start our journey to Ark.
Yeah, what exactly is Ark?
The capital of this country? Walls high as towers of iron-hard stone, rest alone in the mountains in granite enthroned, never decaying, the ages surveying, guarded by the Lord, and blah 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 blah, and so on and so forth. If you plan on staying in this land, sooner or later you'll see it with your own eyes.
Okay. Who is this employer of
Well,
yours?
aren't you curious? I like that. I work for the Holy Order.
The Holy Order? You mean the military units of the gods?
Yes, but as you might know, this is the realm of Malphas, the guardian of the Lightborn. And here, the Order basically reigns for him. It's both the spiritual and judicial center of this country, so believe me, you'll see for yourself soon enough.
Okay. Okay then, I will help you. The faster I get rid of this fever, the better.
Splendid. There are some things that need some explanation before we can get started, however. Where should I start? I take it you've noticed that in the past 2.5 years, this world has fallen into political chaos, right? Civil wars, usurpers everywhere, you name it. And even though Enderal isn't directly affected by these wars going on everywhere, there are strange things happening here too. Take the Woods-Ears, for example. There have been an unusual number of reports of wanderers being attacked by them in the open, which has never happened before. And the same goes for the Lost Ones, the living dead. Until 2 years ago, they were a rather rare magical phenomenon. But now every other corpse not properly cremated starts walking again as if it were the most natural thing to do. The strangest thing, however, is what they call the Red Madness.
The Red Madness?
Yeah. It's some kind of mental illness that makes people lose their minds. Just a couple of weeks ago, for instance, there was a smith in Ark who slaughtered his entire family. He was drunk, but that doesn't explain why he screamed things like, "Fear the light," while he was doing it. Or a young noblewoman who killed herself by setting her family estate on fire for no apparent reason. Now, you might say that these kinds of things happen, but by now there have been more than a dozen of them. That and the fact that the possessed's eyes glow red shortly before and during their deed has made people call it the Red Madness.
I've seen the red
And
eyes.
just 3 days ago it happened again. Only this time it was a magister from within the Holy Order itself. Right, you're not from here. A magister is a kind of sage from the Holy Order who teaches the young novices who are aspiring to become keepers or arcanists. Yarrow was his name, a man who had more than 60 winners on his back.
What did he do?
He killed 15 novices and himself. According to the only eyewitness to survive, he entered the teaching room as usual to give a lecture on alchemy. But instead, he gave a strange speech in which he explained that humanity is corrupt, void, as he put it. Then his eyes started glowing, he locked the door, and, well, he tore himself apart with a magical explosion. You can imagine the kind of uproar that caused.
Yeah. So what's your role in all this? You said you work for the Order, but I take it you are no monk.
Well, I'm not exactly one for vows and austerity, so no, I'm no keeper. I guess you could say my specialty is recovering things that have been lost. Treasures, tomes, memories, and the like. And the Order hired me to do exactly that. They want to know how a highly intelligent man like Yarrow could fall victim to the Red Madness. And also if there's a discernible pattern to how this malady, or whatever it is, chooses its victims.
In other words, you are searching for his motives. How could I help you with that? I don't know anything about this Yarrow.
True, but that's irrelevant. Yarrow grew up in a small village named Riverville, which isn't far from here. And according to some of the other wardens, he visited this area quite often after his partner's death. So it's quite possible we could find some clues around here. Shards of his past, if you like. I've already searched most of the area, but a second pair of eyes wouldn't hurt. What do you think?
Yep. Sounds like a plan. Where should I
Well,
start?
for starters, I need you to travel to Riverville and talk to an old man named Alfred. He was a childhood friend of Yarrow's, and he might be able to tell us something worthwhile. Secondly, a boy from the village told me that he saw Yarrow throw something into the water near a cliff to the east. Go there and see if you can find whatever it was he wanted to get rid of. I myself will have a look at the house Yarrow grew up in. Here, this is a map of the region. The blue dot over here is Yarrow's old house. And at the risk of sounding heartless, you should head back to the apothecary's camp. Maybe the bandits left behind some equipment. If there's nothing else, I'd say off we go. Let's shed some light on this Yarrow and his motivations.
Yeah, let's do
Meet me at
that.
his old house when you're ready. I'll be waiting there.
Alright. They call me the Butcher. It has to write this word, though I am aware of their truth. What else should a man be called who strays smarter than corpses which are not mute witness of a battle or an accident, no, corpses which are sullen, the results of my own doing. Men, women, elder children, priests, merchants, travelers, horse. My murders seem to follow an inscrutable pattern, because those arbitraries will put an icy veil around everyone's heart, but of course this will not be what heralds will proclaim. For them and the Holy Order I will be no less than a monstrosity, a pathless demon who had been led astray by his own will and cravings. They will call me an evil man, a beast, with a heart black as midnight, because they are the colors in which the world prefers to think. Black and white, no one will ask about how and why. Even these pages will be hard to acquire, for the Holy Order will surely do everything in its power to prohibit their printing. Which is why I shall congratulate you, whoever you may be, for holding them in your very own hands. With the assembly of lettered pages, you shall be given an insight into my very own thoughts. Do not understand them as a justification for my deeds, because this is not what they are. I assume full responsibility for what I have done, and I desire no absolution neither from Malphas, whose supposed divinity is something I nowadays merely smile from, nor for the people from Justice, or some other strange great power whose true nature we have not yet learned to comprehend. This book is no more than a testimony of the strange and inscrutable happenings yonder which have made me into what I am. Chapter 1 Follow the Fire. It was a dull, cold and wet morning. Maybe I won't read it all aloud, I will just... There is quite some pages here. So, it was a dull, cold and wet morning that should change my life forever. Yes, somehow it was almost seemed as if that day Mother Nature, as responsible for the festivities of the preceding night, had decided to recover herself from dreaming on the nondescript day. The reason for the aforementioned festivities had been the so-called Star Summer Night, in which every year marks the beginning of the new spring, and in which night sky is illuminated by dozens of wild untamed fires, where the common people however use the occasion to indulge in their maiden cravings, whether by drink in smoky taverns, dancing around the first delve of spade, or having cultivated conversation on a masked ball. For us clerics it means no less than a night filled with processions, sermons and prayers. After shortly attending the joyous speech of the mayor and giving my priestly blessing to the commencements of the festivities, I silently retreated into the temple and prayed until both my knees and my tongue were sore, just like the holy verses oblige every priest to do. It was of no significance whether the priest was a high priest in person, or it was the case with me, merely a simple insignificant father in even the simpler and more insignificant village. Mine was called Fogville, and was situated on a constantly windy, sparsely vegetated cliff at the very west of Enderal. It owed its name to, who would have guessed what? A pale, thin wads of mist, which every morning lay themselves over the village, contents like a mourning veil over the face of old widow. I still remember the last gaze yonder which I threw upon the poor houses at the bottom of the hill. The village temple was enthroned from. After the dissonant orchestration of lute music, animated laughter and popping of corks, an almost eerie silence had laid itself upon the village. Only here and there the lonesome figure could have been seen and heard moving through the cool mist, and even the bakery chimney remained still. I feebly smiled the face of the village I had grown up in. My father, who actually wasn't my father, claimed to have found me wrapped in the linen and lying in a basket in the way shrine on the mist road, and I have been abandoned, and the man who later became my father took me to the village full of devotion and gratefulness for divine gift. However, before his untimely death, only 10 years later, I never got rid of the feeling that his compassionate act was due to the fact that he found me right underneath the statue of Mephalas, and not because he wished for a child. Gilmon the Tanner, as the villagers called him, was a dedicated man with pockmarked skin and a slim nose. In his own opinion, the whole world conspired against him, which was the sole reason for his misery. He never talked much, but when he did, our conversation followed a general pattern. With his soughing voice, he called me to his fireplace room, where he rigidly sat most of the time among two empty tankards of beer. Then he indicated to me to sit down and announced that he had no he had to get something off his chest. The fact that only his founding son was there to listen was another proof for how badly life has treated him. He started right when I sat down. Hjalmar the hunter had sold him rancid oils, an evil cutthroat, my father called him, but after all, it was in the nature of all the eternal, he said, and in Enderal the fact was not as well known as its Netterin, or Matres Zulia, who had served him a bitter wine. A mean crone she was, he said. Oh yes, but thanks to the Malphas, he had perceived her plan and cut her down to size. And then, of course, Kashik the Smith, twin boys. Rascals they were, both of them. No respect they had for path-abiding, hard-work people like him, but no manners were to be expected from the coal man and his breed. What do they know about decency? He said excitedly. These folks do nothing but shag until the bed breaks down, and it did not matter to him that Rashik was a Quarian living in the third generation in Enderal, and that he preferred long-term union with his mate over the promiscuous family clans of his homeland. These conversations, his persistently sour breath and smell of raw hides, leathers of the animal fats in the workshop made up a great deal of my childhood. Friends I had only a few to none, most due to the fact that my father made me work hard in the tannery and soon as I reached my age of 5 in Matria Pilea. I am sure of this now, had not by incident noticed my quick wit and would still be there today working between animals, parts, stitched hides and slippery grease. Maybe the strange experience at that misty morning would have never happened, yet she noticed, and that is how it came to that day of my path consecration, and each priest proclaimed my holy path and solemn voice. I, Jael, Tanner's son, was predestined to entirely dedicate my life to Mephalas' glory as a priest. Of course, back then I did not fully comprehend what that meant, but the other children abstract reactions made me realize it was a good thing. Thus, I left a bleak tannery and entered the old house at the end of the village to sleep there, for my foster father, the child abduction, was only one more act of treason. Looking back, I think that Amable Mater was the only real caregiver in my life. She taught me to read and write, and she taught me the essential of herbal lore. With empathy and toughness, she taught me what I needed to know to become part of the Enderal clergy. 10 winters later, I received priesthood and began to serve in a small temple. I did what obedient priests had to do. I held services, I prayed, I maintained the temple, and I heard the villagers' confessions. Matipilai left the village on her 16th name day and moved to retirement quarter in the Sun Temple of the capital, which I only knew from tales. A year later my father passed away, and even that, to my surprise, affected me deeply. Then everything became lethargic routine until that very day. The man that I was then, was I a happy man? I am not able to tell. When I try to recall the first 28 years of my life, my memories seem to be like fading words of an old parchment. My reason tells me that I was blessed, in a way. The life of a priest was pleasant and constant without highs and lows. I had enough to eat and had a home enough thanks to afford the service of a wandering horde who came time to time. I knew that according to holy verses, at the end of my days I would enter the eternal path, my path trodden, my task fulfilled, but things turned out differently. After I had taken off my robes and wearily laid down under the sheet of sheep's wool, I noticed strange dull feelings in my stomach. Today I know that this unremarkable moment was the first time I encountered the fire. It was small, insignificant, only a weak glow, but it was there. Knowing that I would wake up a different man. However, on this grey morning it was too tired to pay attention to it. Exhausted, I wrapped my sheet around myself and fast asleep a moment later. I woke in a dream. I found myself in a really great forest surrounded by green oak trees whose leaves were moving gently by the wind. The setting sun stood at the horizon like a molten blaze and threw a red light over the scenery. I saved the spicy, fresh air and tasted the wet moss, morning dew, and all secrets mysterious, wild, and clear, like life itself, in contrast to what we all know from the nightly journeys that we call dreams. I was fully aware of the unreality of the scenery, so I accepted it as if it was as natural as time passing. I was stark naked as the day of my birth, but I was not ashamed. On the contrary, I felt strong, clear, and free. When I took my eyes away from the sky and looked in front of me, I saw her. She stood in an old ruin. It was overgrown and the ivy, with the ivy and whose collapse was walls and arches told me of ancient times. She wore a grey, flowing robe, and the only allowed glimpse of her femininity beneath. That reminds me of a person that I met. Her hood hung deeply over her face, so that the only tender and delicate parts of her cheek and chin were visible, a sight that could have come from the imagination of a Quarian painter. Her dense midnight black hair was tied into snake-like braids and fell down shoulders. Various things were interwoven in her hair, all faded coins, that must have been minted by lost civilizations, a smile finely polished bones from the animals unknown to us, the strange ribbons whose colorful threads created by artful patterns, but not it was all that hypnotizing me and drew me towards the veiled figure in the ruins. It was her smile. With every step I took towards her, I fell deeper into its charm. It was not lovely smile, as some might assume. It was a mixture of melancholy, rage, hope, and love, a symphony of contradicting feelings, which I thought to be irreconcilably, inconceivable. It was a smile that was able to speak great wisdom as much as orders that would mean the death of thousands, a smile born from truths recognized in otherworldly existences. A cold sweat ran from my pores, and I felt how apprehensive mixed with the peaceful bliss of the moment was gone. How many more pages are there? That's crazy. I cannot read all of that. That's absolutely insane. I will take that book. Read all volumes of Bachelor of Arts. Are you kidding me? Let's eat something and save. Yep, regenerating health from a pumpkin. Perfect. Let's eat another pumpkin. Great. And one more. Pumpkins are so light. It's actually not a pumpkin, it's a god, but whatever.
Now a good pipe.
Okay, so I think I will finish my episode on that.
Huh?
This is interesting place. Remove them. Strong box. I guess this is the resting place where the apothecaries were. So I can go back through here. Yeah, this was the place. Here, it was here. Either way, I will finish the episode on that. Thank you for watching. If you like it, press like. If you want to comment, please leave a comment.
Huh?
And I also recommend my other Let's Plays. From different games. Oh.
Never walked back on the road from the aged man's abode.
Empty.
Ugh,
So.
places. Sorry. I know. I can't sing.
Okay. So this is it. I hope you like it. If you did, press like. And so on and so forth. And see you later.